Gizzard mentions Cain's response when asked if he is a disciple of the gods, prompting the Prime Minister to suggest they test him using a particular book. A few days later, Cain finds himself exhausted and bumps into Gizzard again, who questions his fatigue. Cain explains that Tefana has been dragging him on countless dates, which primarily consist of them fighting. Gizzard thanks Cain for helping Tefana enhance her skills, to which Cain reveals he has also attained the title of Master Swordsman. They suddenly hear Tefana's voice, prompting Cain to flee, but Gizzard insists he must see the king. Cain fears he is in trouble, but the king presents him with a book containing emperor-level magic, believed to be written by the first king. Cain examines it in awe, discovering an entirely new level of magic. The king reveals no one can decipher the text, as it is written in Japanese. Cain realizes he may have erred. He hypothesizes that the first king was also someone reincarnated from Japan, leading the king to question Cain's identity. He realizes he can no longer conceal the truth. Thus, Cain explains his reincarnation and the memories from his previous life. Garm wonders if he is truly his son, but Cain asserts that he is, citing the gods as confirmation. Everyone is astounded to hear he met the gods, and he recounts his encounter with the 7 gods during his baptism. The king is incredulous that Cain met all 7 gods, urging him to reveal his status. Cain unveils his true status window, leaving everyone shocked at the sight of his level 10 blessings and title as the Chosen of the Gods. The king muses that with the title of the Chosen, the world would bow to Cain. However, Cain expresses his desire for things to remain as they are, relishing his current adventures and the people he has met, wishing to be treated just like before. The king agrees to this request but jokingly suggests that Cain could be king if he desired. Tefana interrupts the meeting, presenting her father's letter granting permission for her to marry Cain. She swiftly seizes Cain and drags him away, heading straight for the courtyard. Meanwhile, the king instructs everyone to maintain confidentiality regarding Cain's identity, hoping he will continue to safeguard the nation and its citizens. Later, we find Celestia and Silk reacting to the news of Cain's engagement to Tefana. Initially, they are upset but eventually come to terms with it, advising him not to accept every proposal he receives, pondering how many people they will have to share him with. Tefana bursts in, seeking Cain and wanting to share their love. The girls question Cain about his activities with her, but he is pulled away as he attempts to explain. Later, Cain examines the first king's book again and discovers a message stating that if he can read it, he must originate from another world. It recounts his experiences. The first king, Uyas Ford, a man who died in an accident, was summoned to the world in his original body. Cain is abruptly interrupted as Celestia and Silk inquire about his activities. Believing he is studying for the academy entrance exams, they request to join him, but he informs them he is too occupied. When they ask about the following day, he insists that day is even worse and quickly escapes. However, he runs into Tefana, who requests a sparring session the next day. Cain apologizes and flees from her as well. The next day marks Cain's 12th birthday, the age at which he can officially register as an adventurer. He heads straight for the guild. Upon arrival, he is impressed by the grandeur of the capital's guild. He encounters an adventurer who recognizes it is Cain's first visit, reminding him to stay cautious as he has only one life before departing. Cain feels a sense of familiarity with the adventurer. He approaches the counter, where the clerk introduces herself as Tia. Cain asks to register as an adventurer, and she hands him a form to fill out. As he completes it, he wonders if he should mention his status as a baron but decides against it, thinking it irrelevant. After finishing, Tia instructs him to place a drop of his blood on a crystal to register for his guild card. She informs him he will start at G rank and reflects on his tutors, who are D rank. As Tia explains further, some adventurers interrupt, telling her to stop wasting time on the child. One man insists Cain return to his mother, attempting to shove him away, but Cain skillfully dodges. His friend also tries to attack but meets the same fate. Cain turns the situation against them, and when the man prepares to draw his sword, the red-haired adventurer from earlier appears, and the man recognizes him as Claude from the Ice Flame party. Claude inquires if Cain desires a fight, causing the others to flee in fear. Cain thanks Claude for his assistance, and Claude notices Cain's strength, having observed how he evaded the attacks. They share a drink together, Cain opting for juice as he is still a child. Claude is curious about Cain's strength at such a young age, to which Cain replies that he received tutoring during his early years. Cain asks about the mention of Ice Flame, and Claude explains it is the name of his party, where he wields a flaming sword while his wife employs ice magic. He advises Cain to find a party to tackle larger quests and rank up more rapidly, revealing his gold card, indicating he is an A-ranked adventurer. Cain admires the card, but Claude remarks that there is still room for improvement, mentioning that the first king was triple S ranked with a card rumored to be black. Claude is suddenly interrupted when his wife Lena appears, questioning why he is drinking. She introduces herself to Cain, finding him adorable and offering assistance should he encounter trouble, before dragging Claude away to continue their quest. Cain examines the quest board, noticing a request for transporting cargo. Believing it to be simple with his item box, he decides instead to seek a quest involving monster slaying. He spots a quest to defeat goblins, with no limit on how many he can vanquish, and considers it the perfect first quest. Just then, he runs into Tefana, and Gizzard explains they are heading out for training with the knights. Tefana inquires about Cain's plans, and he shares that he is about to embark on his first quest as an adventurer. Tefana insists on joining him, declaring she cannot miss her husband's inaugural adventure, and leaves the training to Gizzard. Cain attempts to escape, but Tefana seizes him and pulls him along. They venture into the forest, and Tefana delights in their time together, asking Cain about the goblins' whereabouts. Cain utilizes his search ability to detect goblins ahead and spots a man surrounded by them. They rush to assist him, and Cain casts a healing spell to aid the man. Tefana charges at the goblins, effortlessly dispatching them, but more goblins emerge. Cain enhances her strength with magic. Together, they feel as if they are fighting in perfect harmony. Tefana swiftly takes down the goblins, only to be confronted by a giant goblin. However, thanks to Cain's magic, it proves no match for her, and she slices it in half. Lost in her thoughts of their future wedding, she requests praise from Cain, but suddenly, green lizards appear. Cain instructs her to retreat with the man, urging her to leave the confrontation to him. He casts a light spell to blind the creatures before following up with an ice pillar. Massive ice pillars erupt from the ground, leaving the man bewildered, but Tefana knows it is merely Cain doing what he does. Some time later, we find Cain's tutors investigating the scene of the green lizards, only to discover a large crater left behind. Cain reports to the guild, wondering if he can submit the green lizards, even though he didn't officially take the quest. Tia is astonished by his claim, as a green lizard quest typically requires a C rank, but Cain reveals he defeated 30 of them. In disbelief, Tia rushes to inform the chief. The chief, Cedric, meets with Cain, introducing himself and mentioning the guildmaster is busy, so he will handle Cain's case. He suspects Cain may be trying to cheat the system, arguing it would be impossible for him to have slain a green lizard as a newly registered adventurer. Cain insists he did indeed defeat them, but Cedric believes he is merely a peasant attempting to defraud the guild out of reward money. Determined to punish Cain, he revokes his guild card, asserting that he does not tolerate cheats, but the guildmaster arrives unexpectedly. Cedric explains the situation, doubting Cain could have defeated 30 green lizards, but the guildmaster laughs, stating Cedric has much to learn. Cedric is incredulous that the guildmaster would side with Cain, but the guildmaster introduces his guest, Tefana. She embraces Cain, referring to him as her husband. Both Tia and Cedric are taken aback, while Cain wonders why she is present at the guild. She explains she was there to discuss countermeasures against goblins and green lizards in the city. The guildmaster notes that Cain is a baron and the hero who saved the princess, but Cedric expresses disbelief since Cain's registry form contains no such information. Cain explains that he excluded that detail, not wanting any special treatment. The guildmaster adds that if Cain marries Tefana, he will become Cedric's brother-in-law, shocking Cain to learn Tefana is related to Cedric. Cedric begs for forgiveness, and Tefana remarks that he should be executed for insulting a noble, but Cain forgives him, warning against making hasty assumptions. Cain inquires if they will accept his green lizards, and the guildmaster agrees to promote him, but Tefana insists it is insufficient. She notes Cain is stronger than her, having defeated a red dragon at just 10 years old. The guildmaster decides to elevate him to rank instead, though he states Cain will need to subdue some bandits. Tia and Cedric are incredulous at Cain's rapid promotion, and the guildmaster tells them to manage the paperwork. After they leave, the guildmaster apologizes for Cedric's behavior, but Cain reassures him it's no issue. The guildmaster admits he was concerned when he heard about his sister's engagement, but is now relieved after meeting Cain, urging him to look after his sister. Meanwhile, the gods observe Cain, laughing at the chaos he is causing. They ponder whether making him so strong was a mistake, but Xenom asserts he must grow even stronger, revealing that a being named Aaron is about to be released from his seal. He was sealed away 3 centuries ago, and the gods dread the consequences of his resurgence. They conclude that Cain must become even stronger, believing he needs to train with a specific master to reach the next level. We see Cain in bed as Sylvia rushes in, apologizing for failing to wake him, reminding him today is the academy entrance exam day. Cain hurries out the door as Sylvia continues her apologies, but he assures her not to fret as he won't be late. Once outside, he uses a teleportation spell to reach the academy. Upon checking in for the exam, he is directed to his designated room. While walking, he finds it strange not to recognize anyone on the list. Upon entering the room, he wonders if Telestia and Silk are taking exams in different rooms. The examiner enters, informing them they have 2 hours to complete the test, warning that cheaters will be removed immediately. The exam begins, focusing on basic math and writing skills, which Cain finds simple due to his previous life's knowledge. During the test, the examiner observes him relaxing, surprised when he claims to have finished in just 30 minutes. When the exam concludes, they are told to proceed to the magic assessment, which excites Cain. They move to the courtyard, where the examiner instructs them to use their strongest spell against a target. Cain wonders if he can utilize his full power, and the examiner assures him that the area is protected by a defensive barrier, permitting any magic use. He watches as a boy begins to chant, conjuring a weak fireball that surprises Cain. Another student steps up, producing a similarly feeble display, leading Cain to realize this is the typical level for 12-year-olds. Initially, he plans to use his Inferno spell, but decides against it, fearing it would cause trouble. When it's his turn, he creates a fireball that turns blue and unleashes a fire bullet spell, resulting in a massive explosion that obliterates the wall. The destruction astounds everyone, and Cain is confused since he only used a beginner-level spell. The examiner is left speechless as Cain attempts to explain himself. After assessing the damage, the examiner leads them to the swordsmanship test. They move to another section of the academy where the examiner introduces several A-ranked adventurers to assist in evaluations. Cain is surprised to see Claude, who wonders what Cain is doing there. Cain explains he is taking the entrance exam. Claude wants to be Cain's opponent, but Cain hesitates to accept. However, the examiner insists that Claude, as the highest-ranked adventurer, cannot be turned down. The two prepare to spar, with Claude instructing Cain to showcase his abilities. Cain believes Claude should be strong due to his A rank, so he activates his boost skill and begins his attack. They exchange blows at an astonishing speed, leaving the other students in disbelief. Claude is impressed with Cain, acknowledging him as stronger than the other examiners, but Cain urges him to take it easy since it's just a test. However, Claude gets carried away, activating his own boost skill, resulting in them moving even faster. Their duel is abruptly interrupted as the examiner orders them to stop, claiming they are frightening the other students. Claude acknowledges they may have gone overboard, proposing they plan a quest together sometime, although Cain hesitates, uncertain it's a good idea. The examiner concludes he has seen enough, instructing Cain to return home and await the results. Back at home, Sylvia inquires about Cain's performance. Cain assures her everything went smoothly, leading Sylvia to suggest throwing a party in celebration. Cain feels it's premature to celebrate, but his stomach growls, prompting Sylvia to rush off to prepare food. At the palace, Cain finds himself interrogated by the king regarding the damage he caused. Cain explains how the examiner allowed him to use his full power, mentioning that despite only utilizing beginner magic, it still resulted in significant destruction. The king expresses surprise at Cain's ability to wield emperor-level magic, and Cain questions if there are any areas for practice, but they firmly deny him. The king then inquires where Cain took his exam, noting that Telestra complained of not seeing him. Cain mentions checking in at the south entrance and being directed to his room. Upon hearing this, the king questions the existence of both a north and south entrance. Realizing his blunder, Cain understands the north entrance leads to the noble sector, and he had inadvertently taken the exam alongside commoners. The Duke points out that this even caused complications with the academy headmaster. In a flashback, the headmaster informs the king that there is a dilemma regarding releasing the results due to a commoner achieving a perfect score on the written exam, as well as causing destruction in the training area while contending with an A-ranked adventurer. The Duke laughs upon hearing this, noting that it could only be Cain, instructing the headmaster to release the results at the academy. As the results are revealed, Cain scans for his name. Silk calls out to him, announcing he has topped the class, with Telestra in second place and herself in third. She teases him about the destruction he caused, mentioning Telestra's anger at not seeing him, causing Cain to worry he may be in trouble. Suddenly, he spots his sister Rain guiding other students. She rushes over, ecstatic to see him. Rain expresses pride in Cain for being the top of his class and wishes him luck on his upcoming speech, explaining that the top scorer traditionally delivers a speech at the entrance ceremony. Cain wishes Telestra could take on that role instead, but Rain insists he has no choice.